1977, one of the hottest bands out there was Lynyrd Skynyrd, no doubt. And they were on their biggest tour, Street Survivors. The album had just come out. And they had played South Carolina. They were on their way to play LSU in Baton Rouge. And then their next trip, they were coming up to Little Rock. They were playing October 22nd. Well, it was October 20th, and they were coming through Mississippi on a plane, chartered plane. And unfortunately, that plane crashed. And 3 members of the band, the lead singer, Ronnie Van Zant, lead guitarist, Steve, I'm sorry, allergies, Steve Gaines, and his sister, Cassie Gaines, who was a backup singer, were killed. We have all of the tickets. They had advanced sales where you could call and pay and then pick up the tickets at the day of the concert. If you had already picked up your ticket, you could bring it back in and get your money back. And so here is just a portion of those tickets. And Barton Coliseum had the foresight to keep these tickets. And so in my hand are just 3 of the tickets, and you'll see these piled up. And like I said, this is only a portion because it was a sold out show. Yeah. That would have been close to 10,000 tickets.
So now, that plane crash was just 2 days before they were supposed to take the stage at Barton Coliseum.
Yes, sold out show. Yeah. And we have looked on eBay, and some of these tickets to other concerts have gone as much as $200 a ticket.
Right.
So Lynyrd Skynyrd today is still a hot band to follow.
Right. And many people will remember their song Sweet Home Alabama, which is a song at that time that was just huge for them. So many great artifacts that you have, anything from Glenn Campbell to Elvis Presley. You have some rooms that are dedicated to just Arkansas artists that were able to play at Barton Coliseum, or just fantastic people that are amazing musicians from Arkansas, all the way to the room that you're in right now, which is just anyone and everyone that had a chance to take the stage at Barton.
It opens to the public April 27th, and it will run through the end of the year 2022. So you have a lot of time.
The official state musical instrument of Arkansas is the violin, commonly known as the fiddle. Dr. David Ware, state historian, and Jillian Crawford, who's a curator for the Arkansas State Archives, here to tell us a little bit more about their violin collection. Thank you all for joining us.
It's a pleasure.
So what do we have here today?
We have a rarity. It's an Arkansas-made instrument that also embodies our state's official musical instrument, the fiddle.
Yes.
Which was probably the most commonly found civilian musical instrument in the early days of Arkansas territory and state both.
Really? I did not know that.
Guitars were fragile, banjos were not an early arrival in Arkansas, but the fiddle came with the first Europeans into this part of the country.
No kidding. It's often known in the bluegrass world or folk music. Did this come from like the Ozark area, or did it just come in to the state in general?
It came in probably with the French.
Okay.
Originally, as I say, it came in with all the European settlers. The French as well as the English both had a tradition of fiddle or violin playing. Fiddle is in fact it's from an Old English term.
Okay.
And it didn't take a whole lot of talent to be able to at least scratch out the rhythm of a dance on a fiddle, and they're nice and loud.
Yes, they are. They are. I love the fiddle. What's the difference between a violin and fiddle? Anybody?
Where you are when you say the word, basically.
That's right. That's a trick question. I think there's no difference other than the style of music that you're playing with it, right? Okay, so go ahead, Julian.
So no, this is actually fiddle that was made for the state by G.T. Schrader in 1919.
Wow.
He just decided that he was going to start making violins, and he never actually made one or played the violin supposedly before he started making them. Early articles say that he just used a chisel and a pocket knife for his first violins. Started making them maybe around 1913. In 1915, he actually entered one of the violins into the Arkansas exhibit at the Panama Pacific Exposition in San Francisco and won a silver medal.
Really?
Yeah. So
for not even knowing how to play one, you did pretty good, right?
And then he kept on making them. He'd been working for the railroad and as a conductor for Rock Island Railroad, and he then started selling them so much that he quit his job doing that and made these full time.
Wow.
Started selling them for $150.
No kidding.
Went up to $350 10 years later.
Yeah.
And he kept on making them until his death.
That is incredible.
In 1939, he passed away. He'd moved to Texas at that point.
Wow, I'll be dog. This is just one of the many things that y'all can find at your location, right?
Yes.
So tell us a little bit more about getting to know the rich Arkansas history and the things that we can learn with you all.
We have thousands of artifacts, which we're not a museum, but we loan them out to other museums as well as use them in our own exhibits. Plus we have a huge documentary collection, which we're making more available online at all times through our digital collections platform. All you have to do is go to our website, go down to collections, and then start browsing. And the Arkansas stories are there waiting for people to find.
This is fantastic.
This week we have Sarah Cohen here with the Old State House to tell us about this amazing saxophone. And I wish that people could see the detail on it because it's engraved with stars and just all kinds of really pretty designs.
Yes, it is.
So tell me who this belonged to.
Well, this belongs to Brinkley native Louis Jordan. So you mostly probably know him as an alto sax player, but he was also a singer, a songwriter, and an actor.
Oh yeah, there's just so much talent when it comes to especially music along that Delta area.
Oh, yes.
Just, yeah, it goes back really, really far too. So tell me a little bit about Louis Jordan.
Well, Louis did attend Arkansas Baptist College for a little bit here in Little Rock, but he mostly was in the entire music scene starting in the end of the 30s, 40s, going up until the 70s. He's actually in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as well. Yep.
That's a huge deal.
Yes, it is. And some of his songs were actually turned into soundies, so they were kind of short promotional videos for his music. So you have Beware and Look Out, which were both turned into films.
Wow.
As well.
That is amazing. And so he just performed all over the country.
Yep, and he performed with some of the stars. I mean, you've got Louis Armstrong, Ella Fitzgerald.
Oh, wow.
He did a duet, Baby It's Cold Outside, with Ella Fitzgerald.
Oh my goodness. That is absolutely amazing. So this is, do you have more of his belongings there?
We have some of his belongings. We have a suit of his and some other paper documents.
Yeah, this is, but right here to have a saxophone, that is pretty amazing.
This is the prize piece, essentially.
Yeah, and that music that really, you know, the blues and the music that came out of that Delta area. I mean, you guys have a lot of different artifacts that people can go online to see, right?
Yes, of course. You can go online to our e-museum that's accessible through our website, or you can see some of them in our current exhibit, Play It Loud, concerts at Barton Coliseum.
It's so cool. Yeah, you've got to go to the State House and actually check out some of the exhibits or the artifacts that you have on display. And that is a really, really cool exhibit.
Oh yes, it is. It is one of my favorites.
Right, just all of the artists that came through and played at Barton Coliseum over a very, very long period of time is pretty iconic and brings back a lot of memories for people that went to, you know, their first concert or whatever. For me, my first concert was at Barton Coliseum. So yeah, very, very cool. So how did you actually acquire this saxophone?
We actually got it from a private antique dealer.
Gotcha.
Yep. So sometimes we get lucky like that where we're able to work with vendors and and obtain pieces for
And
our
sometimes the
collection.
family just donates it, right?
Yes, sometimes it's family or friends or just somebody who happened to pick it up somewhere.
Right. Oh, this was in our attic, and I found it. And
Yep, sometimes that's the story.
well, it's very cool. So make sure you go check out the exhibits at the Old State House Museum. Is this one on display right now?
No, currently this one is not.
So this is something, but you can see online with some of the other artifacts.
Yes, this one is online available at our e-museum, which you can access through searching our collection on our website at oldstatehouse.com.
Just look for Louis Jordan, and you can find it that way. Very cool. And that's something that it's one of those things you kind of go down the rabbit hole. You look for one thing, and then you're just going to stay on there for hours looking at all of the artifacts.
That happens every time.
Yeah.